Hello, I'm FPX Toycat, and this right here is a cave found in the current release version of Minecraft. This is the exact same cave from the exact same seed in the exact same location, but instead played in the 1.16 beta. Indeed, you might notice there are some differences despite the fact that it is the same cave. But as you'll see in this side-by-side comparison, the coordinates are exactly the same, and the cave structure is exactly the same, so why exactly is there no water right there? Why exactly is the iron ore, which should be found over here, and is found in the current release version, not found instead here on the beta? Why is it that everything about this cave is very slightly different, from the way the granite or the andesite spawn on this one to the stone over here? Why has everything changed about caves in Minecraft, and why is this not an explicitly mentioned change? There is something very odd happening in the 1.16 beta, and it seems as though by pure coincidence they happen to be changing the way caves work, and I wanted to talk about how and why with today's video. It's something we've had no explanation for, and it's something that seems inconsequential on the surface. However, it does make a big difference, not just for people who know exactly where coal ore or iron ore is on a given seed, because moving it around doesn't necessarily change too much by itself, but if they've changed the distribution on a given seed, does this mean they've changed the distribution overall? This is something I figured I would try to find out, because here's the deal. If Minecraft does change the spawn rates of coal, iron, diamonds, etc., we wouldn't know unless we decide to do the testing, and given that they've moved them all around, it's very likely they have changed those spawn rates. So let's test, let's confirm, and let's try to get to the bottom of exactly what has gone on here, because this is one of the weirdest Minecraft differences that's been going on without any real notice from the community, and I wanted to deep dive with this video. And if we're going to be doing a lot of testing, it's important I share the methodology with all of you, so let's quickly explain that I have myself the exact same seed on both the worlds you saw before. It is the seed I've been using for a bunch of speedrunning purposes, -245164904. You can use this exact same seed, and you can see that it's going to be the same seed if you check the very top of the screen, because we are playing in a beta. However, I'll be using 2 copies of this world just to confirm it's not a console to PC difference, because I actually do happen to have 2 versions of the exact same world, one loaded up in 1.16, which you'll see right here, and one which I loaded up on the exact same platform, on the exact same machine, with the exact same settings, precisely, 3 weeks ago, before all of this, craziness seemed to happen with the 1.16 beta. So this gives us a really good, look as to the exact same world from the exact same device, and means we can actually focus on the differences from, version to version, instead of focusing on the fact that Minecraft Bedrock, despite being the same game, does have a few weird differences, one of which I found in this video is Ravine Placement, because I found something really odd while researching this video, and that really odd thing was the fact that ravines seem to change depending on which Minecraft platform you play on, even though it's all Minecraft when you pause the game and it looks exactly the same. If you play on, say, an Xbox, here is a ravine on the exact same seed in the exact same version, which, as you can see, is kind of facing, towards the plains biome to the south and up towards the north. It's heading in a north-south fashion along the, the Z-axis. However, if we go to the Windows 10 version, at the exact same coordinates, you won't find any ravine, because the same ravine in pretty much the same size is instead found right over here, going along the other axis. It's going along the x-axis from, left to right here, which is really odd in my opinion, that ravines would rotate between Minecraft platforms. There's a lot of things which are kind of strange and weird about Minecraft Bedrock, and I found something to add to the pile, but to avoid that, instead we'll be talking about the same seed, same version, same platform, so we can instead focus on the fact that, hey, it looks as though Minecraft between the 1.16 beta and right now seems to be changing the entire underground system, maybe unwittingly. I can prove this an endless number of times over, but just to be simple here, hey look, here is a random cave at a random point in my Minecraft world. As you can see in the 1.16 beta, it's stone with andesite and gravel, where previously it used to contain the andesite and the gravel, but on the opposite sides, and instead also it has some iron and some coal, which is easily accessible. This is a very, interesting change, because it implies the entire underground coding has been rewritten, and along the way, every single time we happen to hop into a cave, we seem to find lower amounts of iron and coal, which is why we're going to be comparing those 2 things today. So just so there's no confusion, in this video, if I have a honey block in my inventory, that means that I'm playing on the 1.14 version of the world, the Buzzy Bees update version. Whereas when I have the warped planks, a brand new 1.16 feature, that means I'm playing on the current beta version. Because yeah, this version seems super concerning on the surface, but it could be a coincidence. Observations don't always perfectly match up reality, and sometimes they can just be the kind of symbol of reality. So instead, you can see right here, there is still some surface iron and coal. So let's actually do some chunk analysis, and we're going to be doing that by removing all of these stone, granite, and andesite blocks from a bunch of chunks. Here is the handy command if you want to do precisely that, to remove all of of the blocks in a chunk which are, stone, while leaving everything else. So you can find the iron ore, so you can find the coal ore, so you can find the redstone, and most importantly, so we can find the diamonds, because they might have played around with the values of any of these things. So now 10 chunks worth of stone have been removed. That is the equivalent of a 160 by 60 area, although it's actually 80 by 32 area, with all of these stone removed, and we can look immediately and say like, oh yeah, it looks like there's a lot of iron, because you know what, you don't actually appreciate just how much iron there is found in the Minecraft game. It's just most of it seems to have been hidden away, but the real teller is to compare and contrast these exact same chunks in this exact same area with the world generated on a previous version. So the fascinating thing here is, looking at the exact same chunks here, you would guess that the earlier version actually has less iron, has fewer individual veins of iron and coal than previously before, because they seem to be clumping around and seem to be, behaving much less less commonly. Also, another little observation is that these diamonds seem to have generated almost in the same place between versions. Is that a coincidence or not? We can tell by looking at the other diamonds, like this 6 vein over here. It hurts me to say out loud, but you know what? Let's try and focus on the actual changes they did make, and let's try and get a pretty, decent analysis of how many iron ore spawns per, chunk, or rather per 10 chunk area on the two worlds, and let's get a feel for which one actually has more. The way we're going to be doing this is pretty low tech. I'm literally counting by hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 90, 91, 92... 93, 94, 95. There are 95 chunks of iron found on the current version, the new 1.16 version, whereas the old version of this exact same world has 1, 2, 3, 4. Are you glad I edit these out, by the way? You know, I could include Toycat counts iron ore in Minecraft Creative, but it's a very tricky, very easy to make mistakes process if you don't literally count and do nothing else with your brain. So yeah, power of editing, you're gonna find out how many iron ore we have. Real quick, I found 2 separate iron ore veins on the older version that are actually just single blocks of iron right next to each other. These are tragic iron ore veins, but they do count as veins that were just cut off by whatever cave existed here before. It just feels weird counting them that way. Because even free iron ore is a sad vein, but again, Minecraft generates a certain number of veins per chunk, not a certain number of ore per chunk. The veins have a random amount in them, which is why we count this free, the same as we count that 5 over there, as the same as we count this 8 block found right over here. This is a big boy, this is a small boy, but they both count as ore veins. 89 iron ore found in the prior versions, and this is something interesting because this is the opposite of the result we were expecting, and the opposite of the result you can even look at and intuitively feel. Once you actually count and get scientific in your data measuring, then things seem to be just a tiny bit different. However, realistically speaking, although it might seem like, oh, they added more iron ore in 1.16, I would guess not actually. I'd guess that's within the margin of error. So let's instead look at a block which has a much lower spawn chance, and therefore which we're going to get much better numbers for, because it's going to be much fewer of them, which is diamond ore. Because diamond ore is something we're all after. Higher diamond rates is something we'd all think is great. Lower diamond rates is something we'd all think is bad. So let's see how many diamond blocks are found between the two versions. Or again, to be more specific, diamond veins. I think I found the world's saddest diamond vein. Right here at layer 2, you can in fact find diamonds. Just counter to the advice that everyone says you have to mine at layer 11. It's the most efficient layer, that's why you'll find most diamonds somewhere around there, but you can find diamonds all the way down here if you really want to believe. And indeed, it is the 9th diamond vein found within, this, 10 chunk area, which again is less than you would actually expect based on the averages of Minecraft. So we'll see how it looks on the 1.16 version. On this version, even after removing the gravel that covers everything, we find just 7, which is far fewer. And it's a significant decrease given the amount of time that is, we're talking about right there, a 25% increase in the rarity of diamonds. But based on every other ore around here, every single Minecraft ore has been rearranged. This is wild and absolutely huge for Minecraft to make a change like this, and especially to make a change like this without really announcing it. It's even bigger in my opinion because they've also changed around the location of water, which we knew before, but also the location of lava, which means that, yeah, lava veins, water pools, etc. all change. Funnily enough, we were all lobbying for 1.16 to be the cave update, and it seems as though, by accident, they might have done precisely that. Although it's actually slightly weirder than that, because you know how they've updated everything around here, moved all of the ores, all of the blocks, all of the anything that could happen underground. Interestingly enough, the one thing they haven't changed around is the shape and location of the caves. No matter which version of Minecraft you play, you will have the same caves, just sometimes they're going to have different ores on the surface, sometimes they'll have water coming out of them, and that is kind of odd in my opinion. But again, I feel like it might just be pure chance, so let's instead test a much wider area, which again, you can do, via some chunk analysis, or we can do so inside of Minecraft, which is how I like to do as many of these videos as possible, to make this accessible to people who don't want to, load up programs on a second computer or whatever. So let's instead do a really simple test, and let's see how many diamond ore there are within, say, a 100 by 100 radius. This is something we'll be testing at 0, 0 on this world, which I'd like to remind you does look exactly the same between platforms. Again, it's the same exact world, everything the same until you break below the surface. And yeah, we're gonna see what the number of diamond ores are, and you're gonna be able to get Minecraft itself to tell you these exact numbers, because once we go down to about layer 15, where diamond ore is somewhat commonly found, then we can use this command right here. We're gonna be filling 100 blocks in either direction, or really in both directions, and we'll be seeing how many diamond ores we found by replacing them with air. Because as we fill out this command, what's going to happen is you're going to see how many diamond ore are found in a particular area. Bear in mind, it's filling from my head position, so it's going to be filling from 15 instead of from 13 right here. And there's 6 diamond ore found within a 100 by 100 radius of me when I'm at 0.13.0 on this version. Whereas in the Nether update, which just fun fact, same exact cave, right? We pull off this exact same command, and you can see also 6 blocks filled, perfectly the same. Do things start to change from here on out? And just to be more precise with this, so it's not like our position changing or something like that, we can even, set this, instead of being relative to our player position, we can just set it to be 13 on both sides. So 13, through, like, I don't know, let's just say 13 here as well. We're testing a 100 by 100 radius. Easy said, easy done. And then we test from 12, where we find 11 diamond blocks in the Nether update version, as opposed to, oh, actually, it's 11 here as well. This is, it's actually, giving suspiciously similar results so far. But what we'll just do now is we'll test the range from 9 to 11, just to be simple. And you can see how there's 24 diamonds found in this area in the, honeycomb update. Whereas this exact same command will reveal 24 blocks in the Nether updates. Again, this is exactly the same, but actually it's not accurate, because it can't be only 24 diamonds found within a 100 by 100 radius off this area, given that that's 3 layers we just searched at once. So I don't know what's going wrong here. So where this leaves us is actually a really interesting place, because we got some results that seem to imply that there were different numbers, and then we got some results that seem to imply there were the exact same numbers, even to the stage where there shouldn't be exact same numbers, because again, 2 different sets of generations shouldn't provide the exact same results, but Minecraft Bedrock is suspiciously consistent in that particular value range, it seems. So as a result, it's really tricky to say if you'll be worse off or better off as a result of these changes. It's hard to say if, besides the muscle memory stuff, I mean, seeds will change, and anything that you know based on a seed will change, and, those sorts of people will lose out because it all changes without any real warning or notice. But as far as, like, are you better off as just a average Minecraft player checking out worlds you don't really know, the answer is it kind of depends how you want to look at it, because the actual numbers aren't so different. Instead, wait, actually, it just hit me. Because it's so hard to tell and see for certain, maybe some of the blocks that we previously checked were in different areas. So we're going to go to chunks that we definitely loaded up in 1.14, right here at the spawn. And we're going to be using these instead. Same command, 2 blocks below us, 2 here. Let's see how many diamonds we get in 1.14, 42. Whereas in 1.16, the answer is 63. It's actually higher, it seems. Have they increased the spawn rates of diamonds by 50%? Or is that chance? You know what? The fact that we're getting such wacky, wavy results that are all over the place, has the diamond race increased or decreased? We don't know for sure, but I have to know. Let's try somewhere else. Let's try over 100 blocks away to the north over here. Okay, we're at 256. We're at 64. We're going to use this as just our last test. If this conclusively gives us more diamonds, then we can dive into this more and assume that maybe there are just more diamonds in this version. But if it doesn't, then maybe the opposite. 30 blocks filled here versus 16 blocks filled right here. Huh. Maybe they increased diamond rates. But to increase diamond rates, do you need to alter the composition of everything else? This is the question, isn't it? What if we test for gold ore? We find 36 in the 1.14 version, whereas it's 31 in the 1.16 version. Again, results that are different, but by small amounts on either side in the end. So yeah, my attempt to do some quick science, to do some quick proofs of, what exactly has happened below ground, seem to have fallen afoul. And again, it just makes you question what exactly, is happening here. And it leads you down two easy conclusion pathways. One is that they're trying to change the underground, haven't mentioned it whatsoever, and have gone through this huge undertaking. Maybe in preparation for a cave update is the wishful thinking, and maybe just because they felt like the underground needed to be rebalanced, because mining is something they want to talk about all the time as like a essential part of Minecraft that needs to be added. Maybe that's what they're doing, or maybe this is somehow purely an accident. It can only be those two main things, because this is either the weirdest secret to keep ever, because things have changed very slightly. Diamonds might have gone up or down by a small fraction, as far as like their percentage-wise. Gold ore and iron ore and coal ore all have done the same. They've all moved around in ways that you wouldn't notice unless you happen to load up the same world on a regular basis and do so before the update and after it. And it's a fascinating question about how people even perceive things. It's a fascinating thing about the fact that so much in the world can change and very few can notice it. There are 100 million Minecraft Bedrock players out there. There are over 50 million who pick up the game on a monthly basis. There are people who have played this beta, in the millions, and the first one to notice that literally the entire underground has been reorganized, as best I can tell, is myself. And the fact that that's possible, the fact that millions of people can notice something so huge about a system, makes you question how many other things, that happen that we miss on such a huge level. And maybe it's just me that's like this. Maybe it's because there's, fewer super technical players on Bedrock compared to Java. Maybe, it's just like, a more casual mindset, something along those lines. Or maybe it's just the weirdest thing in the world, but we've just imagined that all of the proof in this video was all made up on the spot, and maybe everything's gonna be okay. We don't know for sure, but if you load up a world in the 1.16 beta, and unless they change something in 1.16, the final version, just beware, things will change in ways that are vaguely, that are huge and sweeping, but that don't provide any effect to the end user. What should you take from that information? I really don't know. But I do know that we spent about an hour today goofing off, trying to get a decent answer, and the only thing we came up with is that things have changed. Either it's a mistake or it's a cool secret, but the end benefit isn't really huge. And maybe that's interesting to you, or maybe you're just as confused as I am. All I know is that I thank you very much for watching this video. Please do like it if you did like this little bit of a deep dive into how they accidentally changed caves all the way, but also sort of didn't. Because I feel like using this for a future cave update, using this as a, a jumping spring to update caves and all that sort of stuff, proves something great that, if people don't notice, why don't we just update caves anyway? No one's going to complain. People are only going to be happy. Or maybe this is proof that, why do we deserve a cave update if we don't even notice when they do update caves all the way? I don't know. Let me know. But this has been your boy Snow, and I'm going to go. Goodbye. I just had to rhyme at the end there. No one calls me Snow, but I am a very white human being, despite being a quarter Asian. Anyway, thank you very much.